This week we've had quite a big week since last time I went live by myself last Monday. We had Eternia finally drop and go live for backing. So we're going to check that out in a little bit and see how well that's doing now. We had the King Grayskull come out for that early bird special for the first week of people backing it. And it looks like quite a few people are going to be getting that. Some more people just rolling in. We had the Prowler with us tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here, as well as Jay Peregrine. Excellent, man. Certainly hope you're starting to feel better, brother. And for those of you who don't know, Duchess of Darkness has her channel, and she premieres videos every Wednesday for Wicked Wednesdays. So make sure you give her a like and subscribe and join her. And while you're there, you can hear stories from Prowler, as he is an author of several of her stories and tales and poems as well. So just wanted to give Prowler a little bit of a shout out as well tonight. So, again, thank you all for being here. And I think we're going to go ahead and we are going to jump in, and I'm going to bring up Eternia here. So, here we go. This is where Eternia is currently sitting as of right now. Going to go ahead and refresh, see exactly where we're at. So, since I actually had this up earlier, it looks like it got 29 backers in just that little bit of time when I had this thing set up and prepped. We are at 91% funded already. This is incredible. There was a lot of people saying right from the start that this thing would not, meet its goal. And in less than a week, we're already sitting at 91% back. So this thing looks like it's going to get fully funded by Wednesday. And everybody who backs it during this first week is going to get King Grayskull. Now, that's only for people who pre order it in the first week. Everybody after the fact will not get King Grayskull. He's not an early bird unlock like on a HasLab. So he's not something that you will be getting later down the line. It's only for those who back within the first week. So that is really important. If you're interested in getting him and you can go ahead and afford it at this time, back within the next few days to make sure you get your King Grayskull, because he is going to be one of the rarest figures in the Origins line. So if you are a completist, you're going to need to get this back, or you're going to be paying a pretty penny for him in the aftermarket. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. We'll probably check it out a little bit later, just to go ahead and check in on it and see how it goes throughout the stream. And looks like the Thanos copter rolled in. Look, man, you really didn't miss much. We're like 3 minutes in on the stream here, so you're not that late. You're right on time. Good to have you here, Thanos Copter. Always a pleasure. And keep posting those pictures, man. I'm loving seeing your collection. And Gamer Bud, I want to see some more from you on your page as well on IG, because you've got some amazing stuff and you're just hiding it from everybody. You need to get out there and really show off what you got, man. It's incredible. So I've been talking with quite a few people throughout the week about making sure they post their stuff up, so we can share it with everybody. And of course, if you want to, you can always send it to Skelevator's email, as well as my own Toys at gmail.com. If you want to post, send me some pics of something that you got going on, and again, you can send it to either Skelevator's channel or mine, and we will definitely be sharing that with people in future episodes. And for most of you, you can actually see this is pretty much it got spoiled a little bit last night when I went live with Jay talking about Eternia, but for once, you can actually see kind of in focus some of my collection behind me here. I've still got some figures to sprinkle in on the top row. But yeah, and there's parts of it you can't really see because it's just not high enough. However, throughout this week, now that I've got some lighting up, I'm still trying to figure out the LEDs. You can see part of them's draping down. Um, Keeping those hung up a little bit. The sticky back on the back of the LED strip is not the greatest, as well as also it's got to come down so it can drape down to the next shelf below it. But you can actually finally see I have several shelves up set up with most of my collection right there for everybody to see. And like I said, I will definitely be taking some close up pictures throughout the week and posting them on my IG so you can see what I got going on. I've even got some light customs in there. I say light customs because they're just some swaps from other Origins figures and all like that. But yeah, definitely want to get those shared. And behind my shoulder, you can also see there is the mystery machine because who doesn't love Scooby Doo? It's actually part of my son's collection of toys, and he's got the whole gang sitting in one of the drawers below that. So that's really fun to have sitting there behind us. So, what were you guys all thinking with Eternia? Did you guys think it was going to be trending so good so quickly? I'm pretty excited because if it keeps up at this pace, we're definitely going to get Modi, and every everybody wants Modi. As a matter of fact, I think he's probably bigger than King Grayskull at this point. And for those of you who don't know who Modi is, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and just bring this back up. And we're going to go ahead and we will scroll down and show off Modi just a little bit more because everybody loves Modi, as he's been dubbed and named from everybody. Here we go. Oh no, is it not going to let me pull up that picture? Let's see. We can scroll down a little bit further, and I know he's down here. He's got to be down here somewhere. I haven't actually scrolled down to look further than the top since this thing started backing earlier this week. Here he is, guys. Modi. Who doesn't want this adorable little guy with all of his articulation finally? A full sculpt of this figure. As I've stated several times before, I am all about the little critters and stuff like that. And I'm really hoping that we might start seeing some kind of creatures packs coming out from Mattel, since apparently it's become all the buzz lately. They were talking about it on Toy Geeks this Sunday. A lot of people would really, really like to see a creatures pack to help flesh out the world of Eternia. And I think it'd be a good move. I think it'd be really cool to actually see some of that. So, right here, just going to bring up some more comments. Thanos Copter saying, I was sure it would be funded day one. Sadly, I was projecting my own hope. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was really kind of hoping we would just see this explosion and a full 1 day backing, but I knew it was a long shot. Um, just because the price is really high, and I'm not going to deny that. Do I think it's unreasonable for what you're getting? Absolutely not. I think it's completely reasonable for what you're getting. However, at this time of year, right before Christmas, that's a lot of money to spend on yourself for a toy. And I kind of figured it would. I'm just surprised how fast it did. I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I figured it would back by the end of the campaign at least, especially with a goal as low as 5,000. However, the fact that we're almost at 5,000 in the first week, I think that's just amazing. Absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I mean, if you figure we're backing 5,000 people in 1 week's time, the next tier only being 8,000 backers to get Modi, if it keeps up its pace, it's a guarantee we're going to get Modi. And then at 10,000, we'll get Kelkar. So, that's going to be awesome too, because he's a figure that's never been in the line before, not in classics and not, in, of course, the original line. So that's really cool because classics did a lot of deep cuts, brought some, figures from concept all the way into the toy world. I love it when a line does that. A line can expand. And we've already seen it a bit with Origins because we finally have Koldar. That is really awesome. We've got a name for Wondar, even though he was granted that name in classics. Like he's finally come with a name and a full box as opposed to a Ziploc bag you got for a mail away. I mean, it's just incredible. It's nuts. I'm glad we're seeing these. Now we've got Frogmonger coming down the line. That's going to be really, really awesome to have. I see here we've got Corey Berger in the house, and that is excellent. Always glad to have you here with us, Corey. They might have been hoping it would be a big present item. That would definitely be a big present item. The only problem is we won't see this thing even after it backs until 2024. So we've got quite a while to wait for this thing to come out, even after it's backed. But, like I've always said, as long as I know that it's coming, I don't mind having to wait for something like that. When it's something this awesome coming out, I'm good. Let it take as long as it's going to take. I'm just going to be happy it's coming. So, that's what she said. In any case, guys, what other exciting news are you guys excited to see? I know Skelevator and I talked about a lot of the upcoming figures. Ray from Collecting Classics, he posted some pictures of the Thunder Punch He-Man, which you saw that on Thursday as one of my top picks. And Jay posted a whole like two new videos today, just talking about some of those new Rise of the Snake Men figures that are now up available for pre-order on Entertainment Earth, as well as Big Bad Toy Store. So what are you guys excited about that's coming out most? Like, what's your most excited figure that's on the way? And Nolan says, I keep going back and forth on it. I love it. Looks amazing, but the conversion rate is way off 550 US. Is 754.31. Where's the other 300 coming from? Yeah, I agree. I mean, part of that's just wrapped up in, of course, American to Canadian dollars, which I'm not exactly sure what the exchange rate is on that right now myself personally. But yeah, I gotta say, it breaks my heart all the time whenever I see people post about how much it's going to cost for them to get this in their country. Um, and that is definitely a huge, huge problem. Uh, and I wish there was a better solution right now, but unfortunately, we do not have a great solution at this point. Hopefully, we'll see something start to resolve and get better with that. But yeah, even here in the US, for after you add in, it's 550 to start, $50 extra for the shipping surcharge. So that's already taking you to 600 here inside the US, and that's not including the shipping for whichever state you're in. So this thing can still get racked up pretty high. A safe bet is pretty much shipping almost to anywhere inside the US. You're looking at about $700. I mean, I'm sure there's some places where it'll still be under that point, but a safe bet, rounding it up, it's about $700 almost anywhere you're going to get it in the US as well. So Thanos Copter says he's more hype for the He Skeletor than I probably should be. I agree. I think it's a really cool, fun repaint. I'm excited that again, a character that's never existed in the toy line before is being brought. They said it several times on Sunday for Geek Dad Life that with the lid's off now. We don't know what to expect. We can expect, of course, more fan favorites, but we're also looking at the expectation of getting a lot of figures we've never actually seen before. And probably some returning ones from classics that were deep cuts as well, which is going to be a lot of fun too, because there was a lot of neat deep cut characters all throughout classics. Masterverse Deluxe Man at Arms and Too Bad are my most anticipated. Gamerbot, I gotta agree with you. Both of those figures look absolutely outstanding, and I really feel that that Man at Arms is it's worth way more the value of a deluxe package than some of the other ones that we've seen so far. He's got so much with all the armor, the soft goods cloak. You've got the big cannon as well as his arm cannon. It's just an incredible package overall. Definitely excited to see that guy come down the line. Yep, and Thanos Copter's in agreement with you. Definitely really good to see those. Nolan says, I just checked the conversion. That's why I find it weird. Yeah, definitely. It does feel off. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Corey says that's a heavy price tag to not cover shipping. I agree. It's definitely a heavy price tag if it doesn't include shipping, but there's also a lot of factors involved. I mean, of course, Mattel is already factoring in their profits, as far as how much money they're going to make over the top on this, just for profit as well as cost. But one of the big things about that is too the amount of money it costs to make a tool to get something like this. I think they said on the Snake Mountain they actually had to use cranes to lift the steel plates for those, and that Super 7 Snake Mountain is massive. The Eternia playset is easily a challenge to that, and there's quite a lot going on. So, I mean, that definitely that's a big cost, but it's also costing them quite a bit to make. I'm not sure how much over this they're actually going to be making in profit, but I know it's going to be more than they made on the original one. That's for sure. Because the Eternia playset when it first came out totally flopped, and they bit the bullet on that one hard. That's why they're going crowdfunding this time. They want a guarantee on how much they're going to make. Did Mattel Creations fix the payment plan options? Not to my knowledge, not yet. I know Mega J was talking about that a bit in his video last night when we were live, but I do not believe that it's really, really going to be fixed quite yet. But I definitely hope they get something going soon for payment plans. There's plenty of partners that they could deal with to make sure that they get payment plans across that. Sweet shelf, brah. Yeah, definitely. I got it set up a little bit. I got to do something more about those LEDs in the corner there. Try to get them looking a little bit nicer. Unfortunately, the sticky tack that's on the back of the LED lights, it's not as adherent as I'd hope. But it was a pretty cheap strip of LEDs, so I'm not entirely too upset about that. I'll just have to get some double-sided sticky tape and really reattach it on there so it looks a lot better. But I really appreciate it. There's a remote control where I can actually change the colors and everything like that, but I wanted it bright so you can actually see what's going on there. And as I was telling people a little bit earlier, I'll be taking pictures and posting them to IG later this week so people can really get an idea of what's going on in the collection and what I have in there. 850 is high. Would be griping about it, but I would have been all in. Yeah, yeah, definitely. If the price were a little bit lower, they definitely would have been in, but they also would have been looking for a lot more backers. I think with this, they went with this price range and a lower amount of backers just to try and make sure that the project would actually fund. Anytime it's a crowd fund like this, it's skeptical whether this is actually going to make it or not. And in this instance, it's, one of those things where I'm sure they were not exactly sure if it was going to make it. Just the week prior, or a couple weeks prior, they had a big scare with that He-Man 40th anniversary TV 4 pack. We all know they definitely thought they were going to sell out on that bad boy like quickly, and they didn't because they charged 150 for it, and it was just way too much for most people's pockets. But I think one of the big things that held that back is there's a lot of us that were looking at, okay, what are we going to get, for Eternia? How much is Eternia going to be? I don't want to drop 150 on 4 different versions of He-Man when I know I've got Eternia, coming up, and we weren't sure when at the time when it was dropping, how much it was going to be. So that was a big factor in why that didn't go. But it's always a question. So if they changed it so that it would get funded at 10,000 backers, they would lower the price. There's a good chance they probably would have got more people behind it. But would they have actually hit that 10,000 mark? And I'm not sure they thought they would. I'm bummed I missed out on the classics play sets. Didn't even know they were a thing at the time. Yeah, Thanos Scott, I'm the same way, man. I didn't even find out about classics until about 5 or 6 years into the line while it was out. And so I totally missed that whole ride. And by the time I found out about it, I was just like, nah, I cannot do this. I was at the time I had a family going on as far as like, I was currently living with my ex, and we had our family unit and stuff like that. And there was just no way I was going to be able to spend that kind of money on toys. I had too many other things going on. Had a new kid on the way. As my son, he was on the way at the time, so there was no toys for dad at the time. Dude, I have 4 rolls of double-sided sticky tape because the one in my door fell. Well, if you got some more, double-sided sticky tape, if you still got some after that, man, well, just come on over and let me have some so I can get this thing mounted properly in my room. Are they not still begging for people to buy the XL He-Man? This isn't the XL He-Man, actually. This is the 40th anniversary 4-pack, 40 years through TV, where it's 4 art Origins figures, not even the Masterverse one. And they are trying to get people to buy that thing left and right. As a matter of fact, since I still got Mattel Creations up, I can go see if it's still available at this point because I'm pretty sure it still is. I believe they are. Yeah. So let me actually go take a look here on my other screen. Let's go see if we can find and see if that's still available, so we can all have a little bit of a laugh. Ah, looks like they got a couple of new additions up actually on there. And yep, it has not sold out yet. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring it up right here. And we're just going to go ahead and I will pop it up in this mode. Boom. There it is. Still available. The 4-pack. Sadly, this thing is still not moving anywhere. Uh, after seeing a couple people get it in hand, I definitely think it's worth it if you have the money for it. It's pretty cool, but again, it's a big price tag for 4 He-Man. But the overall display box and everything like that, it's a really well crafted box. I've seen some people who have actually put their figures inside of it. They had He-Man and Skeletor battling it out with that the back image, of this TV set in there, where up front they actually had them and they had this panel behind it, and it looked really, really neat. The craftsmanship on making that look like an Eternia TV monitor, especially one stylized after the look of the 80s, fantastic. I think that's actually hilarious. Um, so it's still a really good looking pack. It's just again right now a little bit too rich for me. But if you haven't checked out to see what else is on Mattel Creations right now, they've still got the little people going on. It looks like they still have, if you have not picked him up yet, 2000X He-Man. Looks like they still got a few of those left in stock. You can still get the mega constructs here of that front panel of Castle Grayskull with the transforming Atom, which is really, really cool. Some of these mega constructs things are really awesome. They actually put back up Castle Grayskull, so you can actually still pick up Castle Grayskull to sit right next to your Snake Mountain. And for people who are complaining about Eternia, let's not forget these mega constructs. They want just under $300 for the mega constructs Castle Grayskull, and they want a little over 300 for the Snake Mountain. So 550 for a full-sized Eternia really doesn't sound so bad when you're comparing it to their Mega Constructs line. As you see, they still, if you haven't managed to find them in stores, I know I've seen them around now. You got your Barbarian He-Man. They've got the Savage He-Man and Orko 2-pack, which is actually on clearance at Target right now, folks. $14 if you haven't picked that one up yet. So it's a little cheaper than actually going to Mattel Creation. And some other great stuff still here. Oh, oh, I got a little excited seeing Grizzlor up there, but yeah, he sold out. Sorry, guys. Oh, look, yep, you still get the Modesky mini comics. Or no, they're sold out. This stuff's all sold out down here. Still a lot of really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff available on there. It's always neat to see what they have still posted. I wish they'd take off some of them older items though, because I look at them and I get excited, and then I remember, oh yeah, that's right, that's currently not available anymore. So that's always a shame. All right, let's roll through the chat here and see what we got people talking about. That's right. If anyone is curious, Skelevator did an unboxing. Absolutely. Yeah, that 4-pack, the unboxing, awesome. It was great to see him go through that and show those off. Loved it. 225 in Canada. Ooh, which one was that for, Nolan? Which was the 4 pack? Yeah, yeah. It's, again, still quite pricey over the border. It's a cool set, but again, the price absolutely. Yep. So why is Eternia 300 Mattel math don't math? Yeah, yeah. Their math sucks. That Orco is amazing. Which one was that? The Masterverse Orco, or were you talking about that Orco necklace? That looks incredible, and it looks like they got something else coming down the line too for the future with clear Orco. 150 US to Canada is 205, so they're adding 20. That's reasonable, but adding 300 for Eternia, I don't know. Haha, okay, I'm done griping. Nolan, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's definitely a crap situation. Maybe it has something to do with the percentage as opposed to just an actual dollar amount. Maybe. Maybe there's some more fees for exporting it. Not sure. Masterverse with Savage. Yeah. Yeah, that Masterverse Orco. And who doesn't want that Orco to go up against a Masterverse Scareglow and recreate those awesome scenes in Revelation? If you guys still haven't checked that out, spoiler alert, Orko and Scareglow have a battle, and it's absolutely full 100% awesome rating. So definitely keep that in mind. And it's a pretty good possibility. Yeah, about the percentage wise, that's the only thing that really makes sense why it's such a difference between, from a smaller amount only being that and then a larger amount. It's got to go off of percentage. I've recreated the scene with my figures and have photos. Not sure if I've posted them or not. I haven't seen them on there yet, but that doesn't mean I haven't scrolled all the way down everybody's IG. Some of you guys been on there a lot longer than me. I'm still fairly new to the whole thing, so I haven't seen everybody's IG all the way down. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. I'm excited for new Eternia Duncan and Frogmonger. Yeah, Frogmonger's going to be sweet. I am so happy to see him coming out. And it looks like the pieces they're using for Frogmonger, I believe, come from a tongue lasher buck, as we're seeing those new, more individually tooled pieces. But like the three-fingered hand and the way the feet look, definitely reminiscent of the vintage tongue lasher, as well as kind of like that little more pebbly texture. I want to say that's common across like toads and stuff like that. So that's really, really awesome that we have something like that coming. All right, here. Just go ahead. I know I stated in my description, and we're going to be talking about future of MOTU. So, a big part of that is just what we can expect in the future. Like I said, the lid's kind of off. So, what kind of figures do you expect, or do you think we're going to see coming out in the future for MOTU? I mean, I know we all have our speculation. One of the ways we can almost guarantee to see it is if we talk about it. So keep talking about the ideas, guys, because we could see a whole bunch of new stuff coming out that we never would have expected before. And I think that's really, really awesome. So Gamerbud says also recreated the scene with Trapjaw and Triclops holding down Skeletor to be converted by Motherboard. That was a really epic scene. What a way to again end Revelations. And yeah, I'm not worried about spoilers here, guys. If you have not watched Revelations all the way through by this point, you guys are just slacking. That thing's been up forever now. It was a great show. A lot of awesome talent and voice acting. And for as much as people griped about it before it was out, yeah, definitely. It was a lot better than that, than what people were going to give it credit for. Okay, I have not, and I'll post them now. Awesome, gamer buddy. I cannot wait to get over there and see it on your IG. That's going to be great. Yes, you could be right. I already read that next message where you said I could be right. It's a, you could be right for sure. Yeah, I hear you, man. My phone likes to change words that I've spelled correctly, like change the tense of them, or even there and there. Really likes to change those up. Man, it really bugs the crap out of me. So we got Nolan again saying, I hope we get another season. Absolutely. They've already confirmed it. And I don't think at this point, with all the hype between the He Man and Motu craze right now, That future of MOTU, I don't think we're going to see that thing canceled. I think we're definitely going to be getting that whole next season revolution, and probably same format. It'll be broken down in two parts and broke up over the course of a year. And I think that's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see that, especially with the Horde coming. Who who doesn't love the Horde? Absolutely love the Horde. Mm, I go to take a sip of my drink and I forget my lid's closed. This tumbler is absolutely awesome. Keeps my drinks hot for hours while I'm at work all day. Absolutely. And Skelevator, the other half of Toy Frenzy in the house, showing the support. Thank you for stopping by tonight, brother. Always good to have you in the house. We were already talking about Eternia and where it's sitting at right now, and it's looking gorgeous. At this rate, we'll definitely have it fully backed in the first week by Wednesday. That's going to be really awesome to see. Can't wait. And thank you. Definitely appreciate it. The one light strip, as we've been sitting here talking tonight, as a matter of fact, I just watched a little bit of it fall down behind me again. So I'm definitely going to need to get some double-sided sticky tape. I'll be surprised if that thing holds up through the rest of this live. And if it falls down, hey, that's okay. I'll go fix it afterwards. But we can all kind of laugh and watch that uh, little bit of a fumble on my shelf. So we got everybody saying hey to Skelevator. God, I love seeing the love you guys have for us because we definitely love having you guys, show up week after week, listen to us rant about MOTU. I mean, heck, we've been talking almost nothing but Eternia in the last couple of weeks. So the fact that you guys are still tuning in just so we can talk about it a little bit more, it's great. But it's fun to keep seeing this project back. Like it's the first real big crowdfunding uh, uh, event that we've had for MOTU. It's something kind of new and exciting. So it's fun to keep checking it out. And again, more people just showing the love. And again, thank you very much, Nolan. I appreciate all the compliments on the shelf, guys. I really, really do appreciate that. It's taken me a while to get it all up, but it's up there now, and I'll definitely be getting the pictures out this week. And I gotta get some, Corey. Again, if you have double-sided sticky tape and you have some extra, if you could swing it by sometime in the next couple of days, so I can get this thing ready for Thursday's show, so I don't have drooping lights behind me. I appreciate that a lot. Has the Eternia hangover set in for you yet? Not really for me. I'm still pumped about it and all like that. Gosh, I've done. Let's see. We did the big event last week before it dropped on Tuesday night. Or yeah, yeah. We've done two events for it on Tuesday nights, which was a special toy frenzy from us on the last two Mo Tuesdays talking about it. Then I went live again a couple times throughout the week, talk about it on different channels. Even jumped on last night talking about it with Jay. Like we all can't get enough, and we keep talking about Eternia. It's kind of like the biggest, hottest news on the market right now. Um, but it's back and it's staying strong, and that's awesome. I am definitely excited to keep seeing where this thing goes and what we can expect next with it. So, with that being said, and getting back into more of the topic of MOTU and where things are at, there's always been some rumors that some rights things are going to happen in the next year in 2023, and we won't get any more origins after that. But I think we can comfortably say at this point that was some old, outdated news, and that moving forward, Mattel definitely still has a bright future with Eternia uh, over everything else. We're going to be seeing a lot more He-Man at least over the next year, and probably again with the date of Eternia not even being shipped out until 2024. There's still a lot of characters we haven't got to within the line, not just on MOTU. Even if they're still looking at continuously pumping Sunman figures into the line, that's a line of 10 additional characters. And right now, we're still only looking at having seen what you got: Space Sumo, Pighead, Digitino, uh, some man himself. You got Boltman coming. So like five. We're about halfway through the line, and there's more to come from that, hopefully too. I would love to get more and more of those characters throughout my Origins line because I really appreciate expanding the brand. So got Skelevator with I'm Stoked too. Absolutely. And aha, Snake Mountain. I like once fall hits, it's my favorite season of the year, and I don't think I've ever been excited for this fall to be over so we can start getting the next fall. Because Snake Mountain hitting next fall with all those extras, I mean, again, it was still such an early prototype, so who knows what it's really going to look like next year. But I don't think they're going to be taking features away from it. They're just going to be modifying what they've added. And I am really, really pumped for that. Still waiting for a Masterverse Atom. Well, I tell you what, you you could probably use some of the parts of the existing figures and build your own right now. But yeah, definitely would like to see a Masterverse Atom. I think they're always skeptical about releasing an Atom figure because he does tend to be a little bit more of a peg warmer than most of it. I'm calling it now. Mattel started the rumor about the rights to stir more interest. You know what? Hey, yeah, they say all news, even bad news, get your name out there, puts it in people's mouths, and everybody's talking about you, good or bad. So it's true. Thanoscopter, until you mentioned it, I didn't even realize we haven't got that yet. With so much coming out, just missed that. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He Adam has not been released for the Masterverse yet. Also wanted to pop back up here. We've got Danny Phillips in the house. Hi Oz, hi all. Thank you for stopping by, Danny. It is good to see you. Thank you for being here with us. And Danny's saying prediction for the future. He wants Masterverse Grayskull. I think we all definitely want that. The question is, with people complaining about the 550 for Eternia, how much do you think a Masterverse Grayskull would cost? Um, the classics one was quite the expensive project back in the day. So I definitely would be interested to see how and when we could possibly get a Masterverse Grayskull and even a Snake Mountain again. Would it be the same scale and size as the Super 7 Snake Mountain? Who knows? But that would be great because that thing is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And now I've actually seen the box in person. The playset is inside as well, but I've seen the entire scope of that box. Phew, you know, used to make cardboard box forts. That thing definitely is like almost a whole cardboard box fort in and of itself. It's fantastic to look at. I'd love to have it. It's about 1200 where I was looking at, which is about average for it. Um, but yeah, look, Space Danger is already a big thing over here. Like, I don't even have room to put a Snake Mountain anywhere on this. So hopefully by the time that comes out, I will have figured out something to get some new space. They're having trouble deciding what shade of pink to use for his clothes. That's true. There's a lot of pink in there. You got like a little bit of magenta and like some fuchsia looking pink in there. Absolutely. See a Masterverse New Eternia Grayskull 150. You know what? If we get it for that price, I'd totally be all over it. Yeah. That could be one thing they could do. If they were to mark that thing down to like say $150 and put it up for crowdsource funding, I think it would fully back even at like saying like they needed 20,000 backers. Because if you were looking at something the scale of Eternia, because let's face it, if it's going to be new Eternia Grayskull, things got to be big for the figures. So it's going to be a huge scale. But that would be really, really cool to have. Need a Marlena and Adora in Origins too. Yeah, need a royal family in Origins. Um, Yeah, like Gamerbud got a chance as being the sole Patreon of Skelevator's channel and the Toy Frenzy show. He was allowed to ask us some questions, and he asked about four packs, kind of along the same lines of the He-Man four pack. And I had one of my big suggestions was definitely the whole royal family. Randor, like in less armor, maybe a more civilian looking outfit. Marlena, Adora, and Adam. All four of those guys together as a four pack. I think that would be great. You could sell it on Mattel Creations. Doesn't need to be a widespread release. And you know what? Again, I love the critters. Throw a Cringer in there. I want to see the return of Cringer in the origin scale. I think that would be great. Dang, I was going back to Revelation to get the lines used in the show to post with my pics on Instagram, and after listening to them, I gotta binge that show again. It's so good. Agreed, Gamer Bud, and the dialogue it's awesome. If you guys didn't catch it, they even had Marlena as Alicia Silverstone. You know, she chimed in. She didn't want to do it, but she did it for Kevin Smith. Chimed in with a "as if." She's a great nod to Clueless. Show was basically a string of one-liners ordered ordered to tell a story. Yeah, it was, and it was so good, so good. To be clear, I loved it. Yeah, you and I had a blast watching that thing. Absolutely, it's so great to watch that. Oh man, I want to do it again too. About to start doing it now. I'm just gonna put it on my second screen and not share it because I don't want to get the channel pumped. But yeah, maybe we'll do like a watch party a la uh, what we all did on Mega J's channel a little bit later, where we'll all queue it up on our Netflix, and we'll all have it ready to go, and we can all start watching it. Uh, I don't know if I'll be as savvy with the slideshow to go with it, so the channel won't get pulled. But I would definitely like to do that, and we could all just talk about it and go through and really dive into Revelations because it was such a good show. And hey, people can pour some hate on me now. I don't care. I'm still a young channel. I can recover from hate at this point. Skelevator, we need to do a monthly watch along episode by episode. See, look, Gamerbud's talking about it as I'm talking about it. That's There we go. We're gonna need to have to do this. Still awesome. Absolutely. Maybe that'll be something that I'll look into setting up. I'll come up with a panel of people to talk about it, and we'll all just get a little in depth on the revelations and talk about everything. So need a cringer not paying eBay prices for classics. Yeah, that has got to be like one of the priciest figures of the line. We got Danny Phillips saying, "Yeah, I love the nod to Clueless." There were so many nods all throughout the things to the different media, different pop culture references in and out of MOTU. Is one of the best examples of how to really execute a show and trigger nostalgia for people who weren't even fans of the original. Nolan, 100% agree. Yeah, definitely. The Cringer's insanely expensive. Get your hands off my stash, you dirty merc. Absolutely. Jason Mewes and one of the best lines of the show. And Origin Swiftwind for Shira. That would be really awesome to see. And I'm hoping we're going to get some. We have not seen a lot of the Princess of Power within Origins. We had Shira, we have the Horde, but they were always kind of part of the original vintage line anyway. We have not seen any more of the Princess of Power introduced within this, and I think we need a lot more of it. So maybe we should all be talking about that a little bit more because I'm all for it. I just want more of the figures, the female buck, to really kind of again expand the line out a little bit more. And you know what? Since they got some man in there, let's get the butterfly women as well. I think that would be cool to put in there. And Mattel, if you're watching this, I know you are. I know you're going to see this. Acquire the license for Golden Girls, not the old ladies. Although having Betty White as an Origins figure would be awesome. It's that other toy line that, they were kind of going to start a cartoon of, but never really got it off the ground. I'd like to see those figures in here too. They had a lot of really cool concepts for that line, and I'd like to see them come into it. I can deep dive into Masterverse with theories and ideas for new seasons. We'll have to have that in an upcoming discussion, Gamer Bud. We'd love to. We'll have to get Jay's help with the slides. Absolutely. See, there we go. We're just gonna have to do this. All right. If I remember correctly, he was even an exclusive, right? Oh, the Cringer. He came with Marlena. So I'm not. I again, I wasn't into the line at the time, so I don't know how exclusive Marlena was, but I don't know if that was at the time like more Maddie collector, where it was a little harder to get things. But yeah, he was packed in with Marlena. I never understood all the anger at it, and I felt like a kid again watching it. Absolutely, Danny Phillips. Absolutely, man. I'm right there with you. A lot of people were hating on it just to hate, and then after it came out, I noticed quite a bit of that hate backed off of it a little bit. Not at first, but by the time part two rolled around, they were definitely backing off of a lot of the hate. I've already written the next 3 seasons. All right, Kevin Smith, I know you're watching. I know you're busy with the Askew universe, but the Askewverse, I can't remember how to pronounce it, but right here, contact Gamerbud. You can find him on IG. You can find him on Twitter. He's down to write for you. So contact him, and we're gonna get him to start writing the show, and it's gonna be great. Skelevator agreeing with Danny. Danny, yes, absolutely. Swiftwind Origins, right? Man, here we go. More Princess of Power. That's right, Skelevators. Great. I love the fact that I'm a little bit behind on the chat because you guys are hopping. Thank you. Corey says needs more cowbell. I agree. I agree. There's a lot of space here, and we need to fill it with more cowbell. I haven't done the voice in a while. I got to work on that. Right? The new cartoon even got my son interested in it, although he just likes Beastman. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, my son's absolutely enjoying He-Man. He loves watching it with his dad. So we sit here and we watch. He's recently gotten into Dragon Ball Z, so we've been watching that a bit. But we have watched all the season, part one and two of Revelations. Watched all 3 seasons of the CGI. He loves it. He just really enjoys spending time with his dad watching these shows. Defo Princess Power is my fave. We need the Princess Power ladies, Shirella and the Butterfly Women. I agree. Why don't we have more women in this franchise? We need them. The Golden Girls would be the true Masters of the Universe. Which Golden Girls are you talking about, Gamer Bud? The line that I was talking about, or are we talking the actual Golden Girls? Because B. Arthur was definitely a Master of the Universe. More praise for Golden Girls, Gwildor Origins. It's got to be coming. I mean, actually, to be honest, I want to see them more now that we've got the movie version of He-Man and the movie version of Skeletor coming in Masterverse. I want to see Gwildor in Masterverse. And as the joke keeps running, Gwildor and Cow 2-pack. It needs to happen. Thank you for being a friend. Oh, I hope I don't get shut down for that. Copyright strike, maybe. Oh, girl by Gloop. See, yeah, Danny knows what I'm talking about. Absolutely. I have a few of the Golden Girls toys mixed in with my Princess Power figures. That's right, man. They were great. They worked well together. They were awesome. I'm not going to keep singing all the lyrics, Corey. I'm sorry. Oh, not the old woman, my bad. Was bugging. Googled it. Haha, it was a 2-pack. SDCC exclusive. Okay, there we go. San Diego Comic Con. Thank you. You know what, Nolan, I'm gonna have to get you to do my research when I'm on the air. Normally, I'm a little bit more well researched, but that's typically when I got time to prep. Like Batman. Well, I also wouldn't mind some of the DreamWorks She-Ra characters in the new toy lines. That show also got a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it. I agree. People just don't like things changed from what they remember, so they pour some hate on it just because it doesn't go with their view of everything. I actually appreciate when new ideas are introduced because some people see things differently, and that allows me to get to a new place, a new creative mindset, and that's what I love. I love new inspirations. So anytime somebody's got some new ideas, I'm always all about it. Heck, as long as I get a name in the credits, I'd write it for a penny, since legally I'd have to be paid. Oh yeah, absolutely. They gotta pay you something. or just pay me in new figures. Hey, there you go. Work out a barter system. We need to bring the barter system back a little bit more. Let's back off currency and get back more into the barter system. There we go. That's a new idea for the economic future. You think in 20 years we can get a 2000X Origins with close to those sculpts but articulated? Got to talk to the Four Horsemen. Honestly, I feel like Classics was probably the closest you would see to getting 2000X stylized high detail sculpts with high articulation. If you didn't know, Four Horsemen were the ones that launched that toy line for the 2000X series. They were fresh out of working for McFarlane and doing a lot of the high detailed sculpts for his. Got picked up by Mattel, started doing that for them. And, then they got into working on the classics line and branched off on their own. Now they're doing great with Mythic Legions. So always good to see what those guys are working on. Four Horsemen are definitely one of my favorite. Oh man, that headless horseman figure they just dropped. Oof. I wish that was still available. I would have been all over it. Hit that like button for the Wizard of Oz, folks. Absolutely, people. If you like the content, hit the like button. Let me know. Leave a comment. All that stuff helps with the algorithm, man. Let's pump it up. I actually hit 50 subscribers, so I'm halfway to 100. You know what happens when I get to 100, guys? May not sound like much, but I get that customized URL so you don't have to see when I post my channel all those letters and numbers. I will say Ostradamus Toys at the bottom of it, and I can't wait for that. After that, get to 500, I'll get that community page. Be all about that too. So let's keep running it. I want to get up there. Oh, my boy loves Dragon Ball. He's a huge anime and manga fan, which means I need to keep a good eye on what he watches as he's only 10 and we all know what he's. Yep, absolutely. There's even some questionable moments when it comes to Dragon Ball. So, fortunately, most of the dubbed versions have that all edited. Thank God. Yeah. B. Arthur would make Hordak. He would take Beastman. All right, so there you go, gamer bud. Start writing the Golden Girls crossover into the Masters, and I want to see them take over Eternia. Yes, yes, the Golden Girl NECA figures. And again, these are the old ladies. They're definitely more that Migo style with all the soft goods. Those toys are awesome. Will do my best, Oz, and I agree with the new ideas with the old properties. That's right, man. We need to bring a lot of this stuff back and get it incorporated. DreamWorks, I didn't mind, but was disappointing that they kept saying Grayskull, but never once addressed it. That's a really good point. I never thought about that. They, by the honor of Grayskull over and over again, never once actually really addressed what Grayskull was in that. And is a very, very good point. I mean, unless it's something I missed when I was watching it. Again, my son saw it, he wanted to watch it, and that's what got us started talking about He-Man and Masters of the Universe at the time. Although, several years ago. That was back when the first season of The Princess of Power launched on Netflix. And that's when we had that epic line. One of my most quoted lines of my son, Dad, I would really like it if we had some He-Man toys. And I looked at the prices and immediately said, Daddy would too, Connor. Daddy would too. Back to the barter. That's right. We are both all about barter system, trade for goods and services. Let's do it. NECA Golden Girls. Nice. I knew Migo did some, but not NECA. Yep. Halfway to Hundy. That's right, man. I'm slowly getting there, and you know what? It's okay. I'm not worried about trying to get like billions of subscribers super fast. I'm liking the fact that I have this smaller following that is growing and building naturally. These chats keep jumping more and more each and every week. I love that natural build up, and I keep seeing those views every week, and I'm excited to see that my content's getting out there. People are enjoying it. So definitely, guys, give me the likes. I want the likes. Four horsemen are the bomb. I have an extra horseman figure. If you're into it, let me know. We will have to talk, Sean. You know you're in my DMs on IG. We're gonna have to talk about that because I would definitely be into figuring something out for that. I would be all about that. And for those of you who don't know, Sean is co-host to one of the greatest He-Man podcasts that there is. Check him out on IG. Um, Legends of Grayskull, big fan. The talks between him and the Dooch are fantastic. I love hearing these guys. They're great to just put on and listen to talk to. I mean, if you guys like the content that Skelevator and I are putting out, you're going to enjoy the Legends of Grayskull. So go check them out. DreamWorks Show also mentioned another sword during their second episode, but no other nods to He-Man besides the transformation by the power of Grayskull. And then, or Anno of Grayskull. Absolutely. We all knew what you meant when you typed it, Gamer Bub. We were good. Same reason Shira can't be in Revelations or any media with He-Man. Yeah, the licensing rights between the two are ridiculous. Which is why, again, Amazon right now is working on a live action Shira. Meanwhile, Netflix is doing live action He-Man. So, yeah, good luck on getting the crossover there. It's a shame. But at least when it comes to the toys, Mattel can put out both. So, step on it, Mattel. We need more. We want more. Yep, but she can be in toy form. That's exactly it, man. Anyone see the new McFarlane Witcher horse? Looks great, especially for the price. I think it's 30 US on Amazon. Oh, you know what? Let's go take a look at that. You said it's the McFarlane Witcher horse? All right. I'm going to bring that up because it's always fun to look at what Todd's working on. I absolutely love his stuff. And the Build a Horse for the Dark Knight Returns line, I was just finally seeing those actually in store this weekend. Of course, they didn't have everybody, so you couldn't build the horse, but that's a shame. So McFarlane is making Roach. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. We can bring this up. So if he's doing something new, this is something that looks like it's already available from season 2 of The Witcher here, and we're gonna go ahead and we'll bring this up. Actually, because that's kind of small, we're gonna full screen this a minute. But here is Roach from The Witcher. And as a matter of fact, I think he would definitely be a very, very. I'm increasing the size on the wrong window. So let's go back in here. We're going to blow him up a little bit. Absolutely gorgeous. And looks like all the same points of the articulation are from the Build a Horse that we've previously seen. Of course, no, this has actually got way more articulation. Look at all the joints we've got going through the legs alone. Yeah, this is a fantastic looking horse. And Nolan, let me know, is this the one you were looking at? Little place for the sword. Here he is in package. So guys, 41.99 right now on BBTS. Definitely check this out if you're interested. You can always pay for those upgraded shipping, but gosh, that's a great looking horse. You know, since they haven't released a new Eternia Battle Cat yet, maybe new Eternia Barbarian He-Man can ride on Roach. That might be kind of cool. Might be a little blasphemous. You can all shout me out if you think I'm being a blasphemer. But hey, I'd be down to do it. It's fun to mix and match your toys. You know, Toy Story had it right. So we got Skelevator popping on saying hey to Sean and Danny. Yeah. Yep. Licensing and rights issues abound. I love the Legends of Grayskull podcast. Thank you, Gamer Bud. They appreciate the support. Absolutely. I can relate, Nolan. All to do with the 80s toy line and the rights. Yep. There's also a light tan horse with the McFarlane Gunslinger spawn. Yeah. Signature edition that is $50. Absolutely. And that Gunslinger spawn is awesome too. I don't know if you guys are too much into the different Spawn figures, but they're doing great. He keeps his stuff really reasonably priced. Again, we mentioned it last night. He does not have shareholders to keep promises to, just himself. So he takes his little cut off the top, whatever he needs, and the rest goes to making the toys. And he's a very diversified portfolio, as we all know. He's still doing arts, he's still running Spawn, he's still got Image Comics that he, kind of owns. So that's the great thing about Todd. He has passion projects that he does that he's passionate about all the time with nobody to answer to but himself. And sure, you can all say I sing his praises and I'm a little bit of a shill, but you know what? He puts out great stuff. And again, the prices are reasonable. Look at the superpowers line right now. It's like the most reasonably priced toy line on the market. Everything else is so high and so jacked up in the price right now. And meanwhile, you got superpowers. It's like, yeah, we got like, $20, $30 vehicles, $10 figures. What you guys want? We got it. Customize the horse and the swift one. Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do that with these. Yeah. Not sure if anyone watches him, but Articulated Ninja did a review on him. Okay, I do follow Articulated Ninja, so I'm gonna have to go pull up that video, check it out, because I love seeing his reviews. He does a really good job. Danny, that's genius. Definitely buying him out. See, look, there it goes. We've, you know, total McFarlane. Yeah, yeah. We were taking a look at your collection earlier. You're showing off to Skelevator and I, and yeah, absolutely. You know, he he does good work. I've been a fan ever since the early '90s when he started doing the Spawn figures. At the time, I thought they were so much better than like Toy Biz and everything else. But at the time, they were actually like the more expensive toy. He was the kind of high priced guy. And now it's like he's the cheap one. Everybody else keeps raising those prices. And he's just like, eh, can't we have Despara in Revelations? I guess we'll see next season. We know Motherboard is the Horde, so we will see what comes down in Revolutions. Maybe we will get Despara. That would be cool. I'd be all for it. Wasn't she created to get around the rights? I'd have to go back and actually watch some of Scott's videos over on Spectre Creative and see, because he had direct hand and all that, and he talks about her creation a lot. So I might have to dive back in there just to get the more information. But hey, I do enjoy watching his videos for a lot of the lore and a lot of behind the scenes of what was going on in Mattel at the time that Classics was going on and when it was created and what was happening with that. It's a really good source of information. He's got some good insights on the toy line. Overall, he's just a little outdated with some of his news, and hey, that is what it is. We all know time goes on and things change. So, Denny Phillips, I've written her in my rendition of season 2 of Revelations. Excellent. Dispara is needed. For those of you that don't, you know what? I'll keep it a secret if you don't know who Dispara is, because you'll have to find out by watching Revolutions or, just Googling it now while we're all watching this episode. I'd appreciate if I retained your attention and didn't just jump to Google, but, I understand. If you want to know, you'll want to know. I want a new Eternia Seahawk. Yes. Then maybe we'll get a ship vehicle. That would be great. And it's funny you bring that up because I was actually going to mention the fact that I would really enjoy to see, in Revelations, we got a great glimpse of what looked like the royal yacht, I guess. And you saw Merman and Skeletor kind of took it over. They raised the pirate flag. I want to see the Pirates of Eternia. I want to see, and Etheria, of course, but I want to see pirates entered into MOTU Origins or Masterverse would be cool too. But since we haven't really seen any like vehicles Masterverse wise yet, let's do it in Origins so that we can actually get those because we do know that they are planning on trying to do quite a bit of the vehicles. So far, everything's been kind of the smaller scale ones. But I think we could, and most of the smaller scale ones, they have upgraded the scaling and the size of some more than others. Like the Wind Raider is obviously a lot larger than the original Wind Raider was. Other ones, they're still closer to the original size of the vintage line, but they have made them quite a bit bigger, uh, which is nice because they definitely help fill in it helps with the slightly larger scale because yes, they're 5.5 scale, but with like the straightened legs and everything like that, they are slightly larger than the original figures. So the some of the figures barely fit in those original vehicles, and now it's like the scaling is a lot better, more appropriate. As you can see, I've got like the entire vehicle shelf right there, where I have both a war sled and a sky sled on the other side that's kind of hidden, and then I've got, Stridor, the Wind Raider, and Landshark right here. And of course, once I get Rotom, I'll have to figure out how to work him into the display. And I even already have an entire other. I mean, I know we can pretty much expect to get Night Stalker, but I do have a secondary Stridor just so I can make them on my own. So Gambit, that's cool. Absolutely. Gambit is awesome. Yes, that would be awesome, Oz. You know what, guys? Spread it around. Hashtag, here we go. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. You guys may see me use this, but it is definitely one of my best lines. Putting it in the chat right there for everybody. Just so you can see, that is like when I talk about stuff, if I think it is the most amazing thing on the world, this is what I use, guys. Awesome. Definitely. Because that means it's just as great as I am. And I'm pretty great, and humble too. So I would love to get Glimmer and her butterflyer, not the one we got in the 80s, the filmation one and the Horde Rotom thing with the arms. As it's called Monstroid, Danny. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that. It'd be great. Uh Glimmer is the bomb. Careful with that. You get the instead of glimmer, you get glitter. Ooh. And Queen Angela. Yeah, yeah, seriously. You could definitely do an Angela in Masterverse, and we probably will see her because, you look at Sunman's wings, they could do it. Oh, there's my own hashtag. Click on my own comment again. Awesome. Things I want to see in animated form. Anti-Eternia his taking over Randor, Dispara, and the Sunman characters coming to Eternia. That would actually be really cool. I'd definitely enjoy seeing that in one of the animated series, bringing in the Sunman. I think it'd be cool. Like, hey, look, yeah, let's just throw the idea out there. King Hiss and the Snake Man rise up. The Masters are having a hard time battling it, and they call in the reinforcements, and we get the rulers of the sun in to back them up. Might be how they're working it in the comic book, since we're seeing Boltman in that first wave of Rise of the Snake Men. I know it was just a concept for classics, but I'd love a light hope figure and new adventures Shira for Masterverse. That would be cool. I would be down to see that. Yeah, especially since we're getting more of the new adventures in the Masterverse line. With them just announcing Skeletor last week. So that's going to be really cool to see. I hope we get a lot more new adventure stuff coming. That would be so good. And yeah, spread those hashtags around, guys. Have fun with them, but definitely, hashtag Ripagriz, everybody. Also, a Filmation collector would be a great vehicle. It was in, yeah, that would be pretty cool. No, not monstrous. The thing from the cartoon Christmas special, what He-Man cuts the arm off of. Oh, yeah, 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 Monstroid. Tall Star, Starla, and Jewel Star would be cool from Shira as well. Absolutely, there's just so many awesome figures and characters within the Princess of Power that I'd really like to see a lot more of all throughout. I think that would definitely be great to have more and more. And we got Fisto and Masterverse. It's only fair that we get Clamp Champ since they did him so dirty in the show. Eh, they did both of those guys. Like, I mean, I will say at least Fisto got to say the line that we were all hoping. Again, folks, if you haven't seen it, go back, watch Revelations, and ooh, fun commentary. Not going to bring it up on here because I don't want the video to get pulled. I think we'll get in Clam Ship in Wave 23. You know, the way they're pumping out the waves, that's probably like right around the corner, like maybe second quarter next year, going into the summer. Origins Dragon Walker that actually walks like the original. Yeah, that's the one thing we have not seen with any of the new vehicles. Everything that they've been doing so far, vehicle wise, has been very, very basic in overall engineering. And I mean, they've added articulation to, again, like Strider's legs. They added out some swappable parts with the Sky Sled so that you can make the War Sled. So, I mean, we have seen some improvements on these overall, but we have not seen any of the motorized vehicles, nor have they alluded to us getting any of them. I mean, even with the Road Ripper, it's no longer the ripcord. Now it's going to be one of those, you drag it back and then you let it go kind of thing, and they go boom. So we'll definitely see hopefully some more engineering as time goes on. Spydor, yes, the giant mechanized spider. That was one of my favorite vehicles as a kid. It was so massive compared to everything else. And again, if you catch a couple episodes of Toy Frenzy a bit back, I talk about how like that was my flagship vehicle for Skeletor, for the villains. It was definitely Spydor, and yeah, you did that right there. So best, thank you, gamer, but it really was. It was funny. And again, yeah, if you're going to Google right now, you can find out exactly what it is. And Danny, praying for a Filmation Fright Zone butt dream. I think we all are. We would love to see something. And again, now that we're seeing Eternia get backed, and as it's getting further backed, fully funded, um, it's a huge scale when it comes to play sets. And that version of Fright Zone, the Filmation style one, was always huge. Is there a chance that we could get it? Is there a chance that it could be crowdfunded? Let's see how well Eternia goes. If Eternia does well, then maybe it's something that we'll think about. I know there was some talk about like if they were to do something like that, maybe add some modularity to it so you get like that smaller Fright Zone playset that we got as kids, be able to attach to it, and even the slime pit. Honestly, I think just adding some modularity to those two vintage playsets on their own, being able to maybe combine them into one, might be a really neat thing to do in Origins. I mean, if we're getting modularity with the figures, why don't we get some more modularity when it comes to playsets? I think that would be great. Vintage one, if we get an orange, come with slime pit. Yeah, see, just exactly what I was talking about. Filmation Fright Zone with slime pit 2-on-1 playset. Well, again, that Filmation Fright Zone was massive and huge. So if you're talking about the Filmation Fright Zone, that would be something we'd probably have to see crowdfunded like Eternia. But if you're talking about the smaller scale playset from the vintage line, then yeah, I would definitely like to see maybe those two combined because they were a little bit smaller. Filmation Eternos Palace as well. If we don't get it, I will probably build one at some point. And I agree with you, Thanos Copter. I would like to see an Eternos Palace, but one thing that I'm actually going to try to do, and you already have the Crystal Palace, I wouldn't mind finding a complete Crystal Palace from the old Shira line, doing some custom paints with it, adding maybe some more purple textures in there, like a darker purple, along with those pinks. And you know what? It would actually make a really good Eternos Palace. It already had like kind of some of the same kind of basic shapes and everything like that. Um, I would really, really appreciate seeing, hopefully, us get something like that, or for myself, just finding a decently priced vintage one with all the accessories. Because again, that was more that dollhouse kind of accessories, like your Barbie, Barbie's dream house kind of accessories and all like that, which is if you think of a royal palace, it would have stuff like that, like more of those luxury furniture items and stuff like that, versus something like Grayskull, which is an old, more dilapidated fortress looking style castle. Eternos Palace, again, doing the Crystal Palace as the Eternos Palace be a really, really cool thing. And yeah, what if we get a slime pit fright zone combo pack? See, we're all thinking the same things, guys. We all want to see these happen, and they make sense. It does, it would be a good combo. And again, I'd like to see some modularity of it. Like, give me a spot to attach the slime pit to the fright zone. Really, kind of expand out that playset. Because it was kind of like a corner style playset, like you put it in a corner somewhere. Expand that corner out a little bit. Give us some more. I'd like to see that. Uh, Crystal Castle with the Filmation top. Boom, done deal. You do it. You got to Eternos Palace. And again, Skelevator jumping on again, saying just like Danny said, absolutely, guys. These are all awesome future ideas. Hopefully, we will see some of these come to fruition. I would absolutely love to see more of this happen within Origins. Because Origins is the line I'm all in on. Masterverse is great. The sculpts keep getting better and better as time goes on. Um, I'm more of a fan of it now than it was when it initially launched. As you can see behind the Mystery Machine, I have my very small but growing Masterverse collection. Only four figures at this time because I'm being very selective in what I buy in that, just because it is at that higher price point. Currently waiting on getting my new Eternia Beastman in, and I will be looking forward to getting that. So that will be my first deluxe from there. And again, I absolutely love with some of these new Eternia, they give you all the parts and pieces to essentially build yourself two figures. And if you do purchase two, then you can get them at both looks, and that's great. You can do the more classic version of it, and then you could do the new Eternia version. Have you ever seen the Weird Treehouse Vintage Unproduced playset or Whispering Wood 2 would be cool? And yeah, the treehouse style playset that you were talking about, they actually pulled when they came up with that concept. It was a bunch of like leftover early concepts from the first Snake Mountain that they were looking at putting into its own playset, and like it was supposed to be like something you could hang on to a wall and be able to run zip lines from. That was a really cool idea. They then later in the classics line repurposed a lot of that look and a lot of those features for that into Lady Slither's little palace, the Snake Man Fortress, which I would definitely like to see at some point. If hopefully maybe that will come out, that would be a great thing. I would love to have, even if it's Hell Curtains. I want a new Crystal Palace or even a Filmation Bright Moon. Yeah, guys, these would be great things to see down the line. And again, we have a very bright future ahead of us with Origins, in my opinion, just from what I've seen for the layout for the next couple of years. So hopefully we get to see a lot of this come to fruition, and maybe if, again, we all start talking about it, Mattel's going to start seeing the buzz, and hopefully they'll be like, okay, they want to see this stuff. They want to see this stuff. And if they keep putting it out, that's great. That gives us a lot more years of more MOTU because it's definitely been lacking, over the last 25, 30 years. So seeing it all come out now, 40 years after it originally was in its heyday, it's so good to have it all back. Denny Phillips, I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, yeah, definitely look up the Treehouse playset. Again, it was a concept that was never produced. The idea was that it's very similar to a playset that came out much later in the Ninja Turtles line for like the 2012 Ninja Turtles, where you hooked up different parts and it went on the wall. That was the Ninja Turtles thing. And then you had zip lines that went to the different ones. This one, it was like one half of Castle Grayskull and it would attach to the wall and you were supposed to run zip lines off of it. That would have been a cool thing to come out. And again, later they repurposed some of those concept drawings of it into what became Lady Slither's playset concept for classics, which we never got around to. I love that the new Eternia Beastman comes with the accessories to put his classic armor on the Revelation Beastman to have both figures in Beastman armor. Yeah, that's true, man. It is cool to see that, and I definitely enjoyed looking at those pictures of it. That should be replaced as a new Eternia playset. That would be definitely neat to see. I think so. The new Eternia Beastman is a beefy figure. Might get another one so can display him both ways. Well, Nolan, you just heard GamerBud's options. So if you could still find the Revelations Beastman, buy him and throw the armor on that guy. That classic armor. You definitely try to display two of them. Want to see them do an updated version of Secret of the Sword? Well, again, it's a big crossover event, so we'd have to see what's going on with the rights. Maybe it might be something we might be able to see. There was also going to be a Frosta Ice Palace and a Dragon Queen Lava Lair for the pop line, but it was canceled first. Yeah, well, it was around that time where when Shira came out, the He-Man hype was dying down a little bit for a couple of different reasons. And then of course the movie also being a big factor in that because that did not go over well because of how much they were spending on the budget for that. So many factors in why the original toy line died down. But yeah, it was just one of those things where if it had stayed high, the hype had stayed high, I think we probably could have seen those come out. Because I mean, you think about it, you put a dragon and another palace and a playset kind of thing going on, boys would have been buying all that stuff. And look at how many of us in the chat are grown men talking about how much we loved this line that was specifically more marketed to the girls at the time, with the different Barbie kind of, accessory sets and different costumes they could wear. Uh, you know, and yet we were all about it. It was cool to see, and we want to see more of it now. Ice Armor Shira, absolutely. And, for that matter, let's get this Ice Armor He-Man. And you know what's neat with that too, and now that I bring that up, so we've seen with Snake Armor He-Man. Now that is not an armor set that the original He-Man had. It wasn't an original alternate armor for that. So when they're doing the Snake Armor He-Man in Origins, they're using the 2000X head sculpt. The Snake Armor Skeletor, now that we've seen pictures and images of that, again, it's very clear that they are using the 2000X Skeletor head sculpt for that version because it was an alternate of him, not an alternate of the original vintage line. So if we get an Ice Armor He-Man, he's probably going to have the 2000X head, and I think that would be awesome. To keep seeing these alternate versions in those forms. And if that's the case, I want my Disco Skeletor 2000X style. We need both of those figures. Absolutely. Nolan with Despara. Yeah, would be cool. Yeah, we never got the Shira in the movie. She was cut, but the concept art is out there. Yeah, from the 1987 MOTU movie. Yeah, she unfortunately was not in that. There were plans, but again, they just kept going over budget and over budget with that movie. And it had its fair share of problems behind the scenes. The fact that that movie ever got released to theaters is a miracle. Uh, and it's a fun B movie to watch. Definitely enjoy watching that movie as time has gone on. And again, we just did the vintage watch. We did the whole watch party on Mega J's channel. That was a blast having all of us there and a bunch of fans just sitting around talking about it, different problems that happened, different things. It was great. Never got why Classics did it. Uh, they did the other stuff from the artist. Again, it all falls down to the rights and everything. Also, I think maybe they figured that might have been a little bit too much of a deep cut. But then again, they did create a new adventure Shira for the line. So who knows? You can always drop by on Spectre Creative and go ahead and ask Scott himself, hey, why did we not get this? Danny, yeah, change it up. I'm okay with it. Would be a great way to cross the new lines. Yep. I want an ice armor Shira now. Yeah. Well, who knows? We might see it. Also, something to think about, if the hype of MOTU didn't go down, would we have ever got new adventures? Or I wonder if that was in the plan anyhow. Uh, you know, if you watch, there are several different documentaries that talk about what was going on and the different ideas that they were talking about at the time. We already know Powers of Grayskull was on the way at the time the hype started dying down. It was kind of a whole nother, again, it was a refresh for the packaging. They were going to increase stories. The hero that was launched for that was a separate character, but there was also a lot of attempts at looking towards the future of the brand in the Son of He-Man, which was yet again also named Hero. It was one of those ideas, and then they had Dare, and this is all factual. This is not a anybody's idea uh, from Scott Knightlick or anything like that. This is not his version of what would have happened. These were original plans and original ideas. We were always going to see a lot of the concepts that came through New Adventures were concepts that they were looking to put out initially anyway. They were always planning on He-Man going to space. They were always planning on taking it a little bit more futuresque. So these are all concepts that we would have seen, maybe not in the same way that we got them in New Adventures, but it was always going towards those ideas. Stuart Cameron did some customs of the ice armor and Shira and others. They were really cool. Definitely, I'll have to go check him out. See what's going on with that. Skelevator's got my back as always. Bring the disco. That's like my favorite variant of Skeletor ever. I guess it's because like he's got the oranges and the blacks and the purples. It just reminds me more of Halloween. Disco Skelly Snake Mountain Pack in Fig. Hey, that's an idea. Tell you heard it here first. Thanos Copner said it. Disco Skeletor in Snake Mountain pack-in figure. Let's go. I want to see it. Or would there have been a Power of Grayskull show instead of a New Adventures? At the time, I'm not sure what would have been going on with that. Shira was definitely still series that was coming up with episodes around that time, but it was also getting canceled. By that time, the entire original filmation run had been done with. It was done and over and just showing reruns in syndication. So I'm not sure if there were ever truly any plans to return new episodes of He-Man to the screen. I'd have to dig into that a little bit further, but from what I've seen on several different documentaries, there was actually no idea or no plans to bring a new cartoon out at that time with it. I know there was at least not Powers of Grayskull necessarily. They were again trying to push the storyline further into the future and go to space, and there were ideas for that kept getting shot down, kind of thing, until eventually we did get New Adventures, which is where that went. So yes, as far as I know, they haven't mentioned what figure it comes with yet. Well, yeah, Nolan and guys, that's because it just got announced. Those guys just got that prototype the day before they showed it off. I'm sure they didn't even really know how it worked itself yet. As Skelevator did a video where he saw from the design the snake that wraps around was put in the wrong spot, and he did a really good showing of exactly how that should have looked. We looked at it last week where there's that other post on the other side of Snake Mountain. They just got that, so they're not going to talk about any kind of pack-in tie-in figure with that. Nothing at all yet. It's still very new. We might not even see some of those features that they showed off. Those all a lot might change on that, but they did specifically say because I went back, watched the video Pixel Dan put out, and he's got the audio from the panel playing as they talk about it. They did say within that that they do not plan on adding a microphone accessory to it because the cost would not it wouldn't make sense because you can already download apps that will do that on your phone for free. So why spend money and invest money into engineering it into the playset when you can do it with your phone? So guys, don't get mad if they don't have it. Don't get upset that this iconic feature from the original playset, they realize that that's going to cost more money in engineering and more time in engineering. And instead of trying to work it in, they're just like, guys, go ahead and download the app. Do it. You got a phone. Download the app. And we're going to focus on putting new play features in this and really fleshing out more of Snake Mountain, which, hey, I'm a fan of because I kind of said I wanted to see that from the start with it. I wanted more of an interior to Snake Mountain, and they're giving me exactly the kind of stuff I was asking for. More of that interior, more play features inside, as well as what was all there on the outside. Love the MOTU movie, and Courtney Cox scream she does in Scream is so funny. Yeah, yeah. Courtney Cox was, you know, in her younger days, definitely looking to be kind of a scream queen of sorts. Gamer Bud, I think if we had gotten Powers of Grayskull instead of New Adventures and stuck with the Filmation style, I may have recovered. Maybe it may have. I think that definitely would have been a good, probably a good way to fall back to. I really think that that change that they made, being so drastically different from what we all remembered as kids growing up, uh, did not help matters in trying to revive Motu. And Thanos Captain Nolan, it's just my prediction, right? I agree with Thanos. Yeah, definitely. Again, we'd love to see it. Even if we get a skeleton warrior with Snake Mountain, that would be cool. I would definitely. I can't wait until we see what wave those skeleton warriors are going to come out. Honestly, I kind of hope they do like an army builder pack, not in the same way that they did the Eternian Guard, because unfortunately, like Eternian Guard was great. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they gave us the parts to build a original man at arms with it. But to be honest, I think I would have just preferred if maybe we got a second Eternian Guard. New Eternia Shiro would also be cool. The original concept art for her, she had a stag and her outfit was more bird-like. Yeah, that'd be down. I'd be down to see it. Disco Skeletor would be cool as a pack in for Snake Mountain. It's good to see here. We are all in agreement on Disco Skeletor. We need it. Need some dinos for Origins. I was kind of hoping that maybe some of that would have been announced as stretch goals, but hey, I'm good with the stretch goals we got. I'm excited. I want Modi. No, and yes. Axel showed art for Eternia box. The dinos are on it. That's right. And I mean, there's still a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff on the boxes that we have not seen come out yet. So, as much as we have seen come off of those boxes, there's a lot there we haven't seen come out from those boxes. So let's just keep biding our time, seeing what actually hits and what doesn't. There was a lot of stuff on the original boxes that didn't come that is coming now. But like he's shown like he's called the Red Warrior. He's kind of like that Zodiac esque looking alternate character. uh, you know, we haven't seen him come yet, and a lot of people kind of thought maybe he might be a Mattel Creations exclusive at some point, but we didn't see him. We've also seen like that centaur creature that was part of the New Adventures line. He's been on one of the boxes. We have not seen him come yet. So let's just bide some time, see what else, more, what more reveals are coming. But yes, quite frequently, if it's hinted at on the box, we will probably get it because more and more of what's been printed on those boxes keeps showing up. And I think that's great. Yeah. Yeah. Of trying to afford the vintage is sometimes just a really lost cause. It's way too much. Anytime, brother. Always happy to shout out give shout outs to everybody who's a supporter of the channel and even those who aren't. I've mentioned several different YouTubers on here that I know don't even watch the show, but I love them, so I'm going to support them anyway. Do what I can. Thanos Copter, right? Mattel already does dinosaurs, so they could do it cheap. Hey, yeah, they could repurpose a couple of those molds from the JP line. I think that would be kind of cool. It does seem like a no-brainer. Yeah, right there. I think I'm the only kid who liked the look of the New Adventures show. I was at the ripe young age of 4 when the show came out. Yeah, yeah, and there's other people that liked it too. You're not the only one, gamer bud. Me, it was just not what I was used to, and it was a very drastic difference when I kind of wanted. I still wanted more of that original. 3 pack, like the Sunman characters. Yeah, yeah. Talking about for the Skeleton Wars, absolutely. Something like that would be great. I'm fine with buying those army builders. It sure beats trying to. It's so hard to find this line for single figures at the store as is. Um, for a lot of those people that managed to grab all those Horde troopers, I still have yet to see a single Horde trooper here in Baltimore. So, I'm really hoping maybe I will find one, maybe two. I might just be stuck ordering them all online, which is fine. I was probably a little too old for it. Yeah, yeah, I think a lot of us were. I had the NA Power Sword. Yeah, the New Adventures Power Sword prop. Absolutely. Yeah. I never could find the original sets that came out when we were kids for like the Power Sword and like the shield and the Havoc staff kind of sets. Never saw those when I was younger. So that New Adventures Power Sword and then the New Adventures Havoc staff that came out at the time, those were just so cool to me. I loved it. And I broke the crap out of that power sword. But to this day, I'm still enamored with the filmation art style. Absolutely, it was so so good. Like there was a lot of like really good high detailed animation at the time. Yeah, Shira had some of the best artwork in animation. In your opinion? Yeah, and I think a lot of us share that opinion too. I know Skelevator and I have talked about it several times. Just the artwork that was He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and the mood it's set in, like a lot of the backgrounds and everything like that that they had. It was so great. I never saw one Trooper in stores. Thanos Copter, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one, man. And Filmation animation is straight nostalgic for me. Love it, and Hanna Barbera, absolutely, because we all grew up with that stuff. That was some of the best stuff. It was so good. Still haven't seen a Horde Trooper either. Thank you, Nolan. Guys, I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm not the only one on this. Like, it's so tragic that we're having trouble finding these. Now, over this weekend, I did have some success in finally getting some new stuff at retail, not just a little niche um, toy store. Like I did stop into Random Treasures. That's that toy store that I keep talking about. I keep trying to promote because it was awesome stopping in there and seeing those and seeing what they got. I even went there this weekend, but yeah, I'd already had my picks when I found them at Target, so I wasn't picking up additional while I was there. But they had a good sale on some Power Ranger stuff that my son picked up, and he stayed so cheap. I was so proud of him. He definitely kept the price down. He was not trying to grab anything crazy. He's very conscientious about his purchases, and he knows that although we were on a toy hunt, we don't always get what we want when we go. Sometimes we just look. But now Santa Claus has got a lot of looking at some different stuff to do and figuring out exactly what he wants to get him for Christmas. I had the sword, power staff, and the armor as a kid. It's in the photo show. I saw those and I liked it. Now, see, you had a different version of the sword because you had like the armor set. See, I didn't have the armor set. I had the standalone electronic power sword that looked different. If you want to share them, you can for fun. Well, I'm not going to grab them up now because I was not prepared for that on a slideshow, but that'll probably be coming up in a later episode of Toy Frenzy. Skelevator and I got to talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing with that. And yeah, I had the Sword of Omens as well. That was also another one that I definitely broke, because that was a very flimsy plastic that I just beaten to everything. But yeah, I remember that thing. It had the lights, it had the red light, so it all lit up. The emblem lit up on the front of it. That was one of my other favorite swords as a kid too. They were great. There's a store in a mall near here that has a replica sword of omens. I've stared at a few times. Yeah. Well, if you've ever seen Jay show off parts of his toy room, he has an amazing replica of Sword of Omens on Mega Jay's channel. So good. And Gamer Bud, you had both swords? Yeah. Okay, so you had the light up one as well as the one from that pack. Still both really cool. Loved having those. The sound effects after a few years was Hey, yeah, after a couple whacks, those sound effects just weren't the same anymore. They got distorted. Your son wants a Drew McIntyre figure for Christmas. Are you going to get him one with Angela? Do they even have one with Angela? I don't know right now. I'd have to look it up. I'd actually buy that and add him to my Masterverse line. Drew McIntyre coming out with the kilt, Angela held high. He could be in the Masterverse line. I'd do it. Mattel's already got the right scaling, so why not add him? All right, guys. So we've been going live for almost about 2 hours right now. So I think I'm going to start wrapping it up. So I'm going to come across here and get into the last few comments. I would love a filmation sort of power and protection. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see some replicas. Closest we had is a couple of letter openers that look really awesome. I would definitely appreciate seeing some more of those, but fuller scale. And then they do have a nice Havoc staff replica too. I have a kind of cheap replica Sword of Power a friend got me a few years ago. It's heavy. Yeah, but sadly he was shipped in winter, so the metal paint is chipping off of it. Oh, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Definitely really sorry to hear that. A lot of those replicas are really nice. And actually, back when I had my own 3D printer, I was looking up STL files to print a Sword of Power, in pieces, and then you kind of assemble it. I definitely want to do that. One guy sells one on Etsy, but it's expensive. Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of them on Etsy and different things. It's funny, I had a 3D printer back when like they were really just starting to get out there, and a friend of mine, he had actually bought one, built it, and then he bought another one and built that one. So he lent me the original one he had. And I have a bunch of friends who do cosplay and everything. And again, this is when 3D printers were fairly new. I had a business plan at the time. I was going to start printing cosplay props. And this is again long before everybody else was doing it. Well, unfortunately, I didn't do my own 3D models. And it's still something that I want to learn today. But hopefully in the future, maybe I'll still be able to see something like that. But now everybody's 3D printing everything, and I mean, I'm not complaining because there's a lot of really cool stuff out on the market now that we would have never seen had 3D printers come out. I got a foam sort of power used it last year for Halloween. I was He-Man. Excellent, Thanos Copter. I'm so glad to hear that. Of course, I really enjoy the idea of you dressing up as Thanos and walking around with the helicopter around you, like going around trick or treating with the Thanos copter built around you. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. Hey, if you do it, I just want pictures. I'm not looking for any credit for the idea. All right, guys. So I did want to make a couple of announcements. Of course, this upcoming Thursday we have new episode of Toy Frenzy. Uh, it's going to be in the usual time slot, 9:30 p.m. Thursday nights. You can join myself. You join Skelevator. We're going to be going live, talking about some more MOTU news and seeing what's going on in the world with you guys that day, as well as I'll be revealing some of those picks that I got this weekend. Ha! See, I didn't put it on my show because that's part of the Toy Frenzy format. So you guys can see if you guys want to see what I got this weekend. Tune into Toy Frenzy, and you can see what Skelevator found this week. Because I think he got some good stuff too. Also, future projects coming up. So, guys, this is actually going to be the last time you will see me go live on Monday nights. Um, Not to do with anything as far as like competition or anything like that, but I'm competing with Monday Night NFL as well as Raw every time I go live on Mondays. And not that I'm saying I would draw a much bigger crowd if I didn't go up against those things, but it also wouldn't hurt if I didn't have to go up against those things. And it was brought to my attention by one of the viewers that Saturday nights are really lacking. And I think I mentioned this before. So I'm going to be moving my show, Ostradamus Toys Live, will be happening on Saturday nights at the usual time, 9 o'clock. Skelevators and my old time slot, Saturday nights. So as it stands right now, you heard it. We're going to be moving to Saturday night. Now, does that mean I will be coming on again and doing a show this Saturday night? I don't know. I got to see what kind of material I come up with this week as far as putting together a new show, as well as just how tired I'm going to be at the end of the week. I've been doing a lot of shows recently, at least three for the last 2 weeks. And this past week, got a little extra bonus last night jumping on Jay's channel. Um, so I got to see how tired I'm going to be at the end of the week and see if I'm going to be going in and being able to put up a live. However, Saturday night's going to be my new time slot. So as far as the future of the channel goes, you guys can catch me Saturday nights here, Ostradamus Toys. So definitely make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you guys know whenever I'm going live. Because like tonight, I meant to do it last night, but ended up going live with Jay until pretty late. And then I had to get off because, I work in the morning. So I had to get off and get ready for work and just did not have time to get all this set up tonight. So definitely was doing it a little bit last minute today. So I'm going to try to give myself some more time to do that, be able to post it a little bit earlier, give people the heads up with quite a bit more notice than, hey, 2 hours before I'm going live, hey, everybody come out and watch me. So yeah, it's definitely going to be happening, as well as I have another project for the future. I'm going to be doing a new podcast with a couple other content creators that you probably are all already familiar with. We're going to have more news in the coming weeks on that. But you'll at least be able to catch me again on yet another channel. So, guys, keep your eyes open, keep healed. We're going to have some more news for you in the next couple of weeks, and we'll let you know when that's going to be going live, when you can find us, as well as where you can find us for that. So, stay tuned, and it's going to be again another more MOTU centric themed um, channel. And I do promise I have other interests outside of MOTU, but I mean, that's just the biggest news now, guys. All right. So just wanted to keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. Still working on some other things in the works, and as those develop, then we will, I will definitely have more news for you guys on what's coming up with that, and hopefully it'll be some stuff that you guys are excited to see. All right, so just gonna go down through these last few comments that's coming out. Nolan stated he wanted one of those new 3D metal printers. Absolutely. Those things are awesome. I would love to get my hands on one of those and see what stuff I make. Thanos Copter stated he has considered it. That would be great. Nolan stated he's old, so he's home Saturday anyway. Now I have something to watch. See? Look, you know what? Again, it was suggested to me that there was a void to fill, so I'm all about it. That's what she said. This was another great live stream. Thank you, Oz. Thank you, Duchess. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Nolan saying, great stream, Oz. Thank you, Nolan. And Danny Phillips with the see y'all later. Great stream, Oz. Thank you, Danny. I really appreciate you coming in, being a great part of the chat. Dude, it's great. I love having you guys get interactive in the chat, get involved with the conversation. I love the dialogue. That's what makes this so great and so much fun. Getting you guys involved and talking about it with you, not just to you about it. I love this experience. So I really appreciate that you guys jump in here and join in. Take care and good journey to all. Absolutely, Nolan. Good journey. We all want to see Oz make stuff. Yes, everybody's all about seeing more Oz and doing more content and everything. So, absolutely, guys, I'm going to be doing as much as I can to bring more content to you and have more stuff on the channel. Like I say, this week, you're actually going to see some pictures outside of advertisements for shows I'm doing on my IG feed. What a novel concept! actually posting content other than advertisements for my shows. How about that? Another great stream, Oz. See you guys later. Thanos Copter. Absolutely. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you being here. And for most of you guys, I know I'm probably just going to turn around and see you guys again tomorrow night. We'll all be jumping on Toy Anxiety. There's no Mo Tuesday, so no emergency or pop-up Toy Frenzy episode tomorrow night with a panel of awesome hosts, which it was really fun to do those. But yeah, I'll be in the chats on Toy Anxiety tomorrow night, 9:30, guys. You know where to catch me on there. And Danny Phillips says, more Motu, love it. Absolutely, man. We've been waiting like 40 years for all this. So let's keep it rolling, right? Can't wait for all the Oz content. Scalavator, thank you, man. It has been so much fun these last few months doing Toy Frenzy with you. Now doing my own content on my own channel. If it wasn't for you, man, give me that opportunity. I wouldn't be here bringing you guys this stuff. So thank you. I really, really appreciate everything that you've done for me. Uh, Gamer Bud with the great stream, man. Yeah, thank you, Gamer Bud. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad to have you coming back each and every week, man. It's been fantastic. And the Ostradamus content multiverse. All right, there we go. I'm gonna come up with a hashtag for that. We're definitely gonna get that going. The Ostradamus verse. There we go. Ostradamus verse. That's it. Hashtag Ostradamus verse. Yes. Yes, there it is. Putting it in the chat, guys. Make it go crazy. Ostradamus verse. That's it. You catch me all across the channels. You see me all the time. I'm always doing Toy Frenzy on Skelevator's channel. You see me jump in with Jay on his channel. You see me jump in with Collecting Classics on Ray's IG. Collecting Classics. Go give these guys a follow. I'm bound to pop up somewhere. As well as now, again, a new podcast that's going to be coming out. You may not see the face. I don't know what kind of format we're going to do for for the podcast yet, but you can definitely catch me on that. And again, I will have more news about that coming in the next few weeks. All right, everybody. It's been a great time chatting with everybody. Love seeing you guys here every week. And I'll be seeing you again. Toy Anxiety tomorrow night. You catch more Ryan Dole as well. And that'll be 9:30. You catch me in the chat there. I'll see you guys on that. And Toy Frenzy this Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Catch you guys there, everybody. Good journey.